and we're here to do some more yoga with you. Today's sequence, we're going to begin actually seated on the floor. Those of you that have a hard time sitting on the floor, you should watch our other videos because we start in a chair. And you could start this in a chair, or
we can use a pillow. A good thing to use is a couch pillow, a little bit firmer. If you don't have a sofa cushion, you can just use a bed pillow. Either one of them works, but it just makes accessing the floor a little bit easier.
So you'll now watch Marcy sit on her pillow on the floor, and you can do the same. You can also not use a pillow and just sit straight on the floor. Once you're in this seated pose, you can see she's got a nice long spine. Her legs are fairly relaxed. And ideally, you want to close the eyes for a moment. We're actually going to start with an Om. Once your eyes are closed, take one breath in and out through the nose. And then you can chat with us. Inhale. You can open the eyes and take your arms up straight by your ears. And Marcy's got me. If you've got a friend, they can help you lift the arms up. If you're on your own, just extend up through the hands, open the chest. And you can see here Marcy keeps her legs relaxed. Just take one more full breath in. And then as you exhale, take your hands down to your knees. And bring one hand to the opposite knee. Sit your spine very tall, and then use the hand on the knee to twist and look around behind you. So you're twisting, always keeping the length of the spine in your mind. You want to be really sure that the spine is long. You feel your core engaging. And then go very slowly to take the other side, so the other hand to the opposite knee. Same thing here, you're sitting tall, you're looking around behind you, you're aware of the length in the spine. Just take one more breath in. And then come on back to center. Now place your left hand, so your right, down onto the mat next to you or the pillow, and raise your other arm up. And it's probably obvious here, you can see Marcy's stretching the whole side of her body. You may know that there are muscles between the ribs, and those muscles are stretching, and you're just going to stay there for a moment, always remembering to breathe through the nose. I think that's the most important part of my job, really, is to remind you to breathe in and out, because it's so easy to forget that. Other side, hand down, side body extends, you're breathing deeply. And be sure to feel the sensation in the body. Rather than think about your laundry list or think about what your next meal will be, just feel what's happening as you stretch the body. Good, now one more time, both arms overhead. This time you'll clasp the hands and flip your palms up towards the sky. So you're going to press your hands up, lift the chest, lift the whole rib cage, and just take one more inhale. And then you can exhale and release the arms. And for now, we'll put the pillow aside. It'll revisit us shortly, but for now, we'll put it aside. And come onto all fours, like you can see Marcy doing here. Hands and knees position. Drop your head for a moment and just practice getting comfortable with your head releasing. So you want all these muscles here to relax. The back of the neck, the upper shoulders, the upper spine, just hanging your head. Stay there for one more breath. Relax your face. And then the next time you inhale through the nose, lift your chin, lift your heart, and lift your tailbone. So you can see Marcy's got this curve in the spine, just like that. That's what you want to create in your spine. And then you go the other way on the exhalation. Literally pulling your head towards your tailbone. Do it again. Inhale. Exhale. Press the back of the heart to the sky. Inhale, lift the heart and the chin up. Exhale. Just do 3 more. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now you're going to take your knees together here, so the knees should touch at this point. And just send your right leg straight back behind you. Very simple here. You can see that Marcy's got a flexed foot. In other words, she's pulling her toes towards the body. Really press into your heel so you get a nice strong flex. And you want to be squeezing that right thigh at the same time. And then point those toes. So press the toes away from you. And then make a couple of rotations with your ankle. It's funny, if you don't normally rotate the ankle, you might find your rotation is quite limited. So that's why we practice it. Make sure you go in both directions. And then you'll do the other side. Left leg back. Flex your foot, press your heel away. Squeeze your left lifted thigh. And then point the toes. And then start to rotate your ankle slowly. Always go in one direction, and then the second direction, just to keep even. And from here, take your knees together again. Tuck your toes and come up into downward facing dog pose. Yes, now I'm sure some of you already know this posture. If you're looking at the monitor and you're still learning this pose, you can see we've got a great example here. Marcy's got a really nice alignment. She's basically in the shape of an upside down letter V. And, you know, again, if you're doing the pose, you don't need to see the monitor, just stay with yourself. If you're still learning it, you can look the way her chest is moving back towards her legs. And she's allowing her head to drop. So wherever you are, stay with it. This can be an awkward pose. A lot of new students think that they're doing it incorrectly because it feels funny, it feels awkward, it's uncomfortable. But that's sort of the name of the game with this pose until you get used to it. Just let your head drop. Stretch the backs of the legs by pressing your heels down as best you can. Straighten your knees. And then you can either stay here or take your feet together, big toes together, and raise your right leg up to the sky. Good, I'm going to have you stay here for 3 breaths. And if you want to lift the leg, but it's too much for you, you can put the left knee to the mat. Keep your leg lifted, 2 more breaths. And then 1 more inhale. And then change legs. Right leg down, left leg shoots to the sky. Inhale, we're taking 3 breaths. If it's too much for you, the opposite knee can come down to the mat. 2. Keep your leg lifted, keep the head dropped. Last breath in. Exhale. Good, now from downward dog, you're going to come to high plank position. High plank really does look like it sounds. You're just in a nice, long, straight plank pose. Your heels press away, your heart goes forward. Full inhale. Long exhale. I'm going to have you stay here for another 3 breaths. And it's okay to shake. It's okay to fatigue a little bit. I mean, we're building strength, so you might feel some of that which is not strong as you're building strength. Just keep a good sense of humor about yourself. Take 1 more inhale. And then exhale and lie right down onto your belly. Good, now you're going to see, as we take cobra pose, the upper body, Marcy's upper body is going to lift off the floor, but her legs are still on the mat. So your legs and hips are on the floor. They're not doing a thing. But you can see how she's lifting up. Just like the name of the pose is cobra, like a snake that lifts its chest. And then put your chest and head back down for a moment. Take a breath here, see if you can instruct your back muscles to release. And then do it again. Inhale, cobra pose, lifting the upper body. You can see how Marcy's hands are just lightly touching the floor, but she's mostly using strength in her body. Her core is engaged. Exhale, put your forehead down. Same thing one more time. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Release. Move yourself back to all fours, hands in knees position. And then we're coming into child's pose here. So toes together, knees wide. Marcy can get her head down on the floor quite easily, the forehead. If that's difficult for you, I do recommend either using a pillow for the forehead or putting your hands underneath. You can make your hands into little fists and stack them. In other words, the head should be supported somehow. So just stay here for 5 breaths. There's no need to look at the monitor. Let your head rest on the floor and breathe. 4 breaths through your nose. It's a really good chance to clear your mind, especially if you feel like you are a little stressed or distracted. Stay with it. Breathe in and breathe out. Last 2, inhale. Exhale. One more full body breath. Inhale. Exhale. All right, let's have you take downward facing dog again. Let your body stretch. This is a strengthener for the arms, for the shoulders. It'll stretch the backs of your legs nicely. And it's also what we call a half inversion. In other words, you're halfway upside down in this posture. The head is released. The head is lower than the heart. And that's a good position to be in for fresh blood to work into the head and the brain. It helps to sort of clear the mind or wake us up a little bit. Now from here, you're going to step your right foot forward, right up between the hands. Some of you will do it more easily than others, but really make sure the foot is between your hands. And I know some people have to literally pull their foot up there. Once you're in the pose, we call this a lunge. It's a runner's lunge. And your hips are nice and low. You can see that Marcy's back leg is straight. Her heel is pressing away, the chest is pressing forward, and you're just holding it. This is what we do in yoga poses. You just hold them and breathe. Now place your back knee down to the mat and keep your hips forward. You can see how Marcy's hips are forward here. She's going to bring her hands to the front knee. Good. Now for some of you, this is a strong stretch in the hips. That's good. Keep your body here for another moment. Lift the heart. And then either maintain this posture or take the arms up. Good. Now if you look at the screen for a minute, you'll see this posture is called crescent lunge. You can see the lunge from Marcy's fingertips all the way down. I'm sorry, I said the lunge, I meant the crescent. It's like a side body crescent. Little tiny back bend. Hold it for one more breath. And then hands come to prayer position. And you'll twist your left elbow over the right knee. Twist the spine. You might hear a couple cracks. And then let's do one more posture in this sequence. Place your hands back down where they were, either side of front foot. Take the back knee up off the mat again. So we're returning to runner's lunge. Left hand stays on the floor, open the right arm up to the sky. So you're really going to lift up through the top hand and the chest opens. And then as long as it doesn't hurt your neck, look up to your top fingers. And then take your hands down and we'll return to downward facing dog. It's like the chorus in a song, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward. Let's do that same sequence. Back leg is long and straight. Hands are on the floor, and you must have your front foot between your hands. Weight into your front heel. Heart goes forward. And now you can drop the back knee to the mat. If this hurts your knee, of course, put something underneath it so you're not in pain. And then bring your hands to your front knee. Hips are forward. Little bit of a back bend here. You lift the heart, you open the chest. And then either stay here or raise your arms. Arms to the sky. Hips are forward. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Stay with it. These slower paced yoga sequences can be challenging to our sense of restlessness, but they're so good for the nervous system. Draw your hands to prayer. Twist to the left, so your right elbow hooks on the outside of the knee. And you can see here Marcy's taking her heart right up to the sky. I keep waiting for a crack in her spine, not quite yet. And then hands back down either side of the front foot. Take the back knee off the mat. Raise your left arm. So we're doing the same posture we did on the first side. Imagine the extension from the tip of the crown of the head all the way down to the back heel. A long line. Open the heart a little more towards the sky. Look up if you haven't already. And then take your hands down. And from here, we're actually going to come into a seated position. So Marcy's going to sit down and extend the legs. Let's have you take the right leg out. So for you to the left. And then the left foot bends in. Now she's able to get her foot quite well bent, but you've got a range here. Just bend the knee as much as you're able. Yeah. All right. So you'll take your right hand down the shin until it can't go any farther. And then start with this left hand on your hip here. And start to open this left shoulder. So you're doing a lot of things here. You're getting the hamstring of the right leg. You're laterally stretching the spine. You're opening the shoulder and the chest. And then if you can, take your top arm up to the sky. Just reach it right up. So now you're really working the chest and the shoulder. And if you're a very flexible person like Marcy, you can start to take the arm over the ear, like that. And just go for the biggest stretch that you can. I'm going to have you hold this pose for 3 breaths. 2 breaths. All these benefits that we talk about with the practice of yoga, they happen by staying still and breathing in the postures. 1 more breath in. And then take yourself back to center and just change legs. Same thing on the second side. Reach the hand as far as it'll go. You'll start with this hand on the hip just to start working into the shoulder. You can see Marcy's twisting the heart up towards the sky. Starting to tune into that stretch in the hamstring. Can you feel it?
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Take your top arm to the sky first. Straight up. Recruiting the muscles of the shoulder to lift the hand. And then your choice to stay right here or take the arm over the ear. Yes. 3 breaths, as we did on the first side. Lateral extension of the spine. Twist of the spine. Extension of your hamstring. 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale. to take both legs out into a straddle, and you can send your assistant, that's me, to get the pillow again. So a lot of you will find the pillow comes in handy again here, as you just come forward. Good. Now, most human beings can't go as low as she can, but you get the idea. You want to go as low as you can, and certainly feel free to use that pillow to let yourself rest upon. And some people use 2 pillows or 3 pillows to hold the upper body. But the point is to keep your legs somewhat active. So you can see that her toes are pulling back towards her body. She's flexing the feet, in other words. Legs are active, but upper body's released. And if you can't go quite that low, you could be on your hands or your forearms, but support yourself in some way and allow your head to drop. I'm going to count 3 more breaths. Slow breathing. Feel your body stretching. Don't push it. 2 breaths. And 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. All right, let's come out of the posture. We have a couple of postures on our backs, and then we'll take a relaxation. And once you're on your back, let's take the soles of the feet to the mat, and then you'll take a bridge posture. So fairly straightforward bridge. You can see Marcy's able to get her hands clasped together. Looks like this. And if you can do that, push your pinkies down towards the mat. And then you just watch your own lungs expanding. It's very entertaining. Watch the ribcage expand. Contract. And in terms of alignment of the legs, you just simply want the ankles underneath the knees. Spread your toes. And just take 1 more inhale. Exhale. Okay, now keeping your hips high, if you can, you're going to grab that pillow again, or your assistant can do it. Bring the pillow underneath you, and then raise your legs up. So this is what we call a full inversion. Not only is the head lower than the heart, but the hips are higher than the heart. That's what we call a full inversion. Breathe and relax in this pose. And Marcy's demonstrating it with the pillow. You could also use a yoga block instead of the pillow. It would do the same thing underneath the sacrum.
You want to show them how to do it?
Sure.
You can use it flat like this, or up like this.
Yeah, the block is nice because you have these different heights. Lifting the heels, extending the back of the legs. And besides the lift of the legs, you're essentially relaxing the body. Hold your posture for 5. Let your mind relax. 4 breaths. To be honest, the mind has a hard time relaxing. It's one thing to say, don't worry about it or let it go, but what the mind can do is focus on what we tell it to focus on with practice. That's one of the reasons that we talk so much about the breathing. Because when the mind's focusing on the breath, in a sense it's relaxing. It's not worrying, it's not planning, it's It's not regretting. It's not daydreaming. It's just right in the present moment, focusing on your inhale and your exhale. And that's responsible for a lot of the stress relief benefits that we talk about with yoga. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, release the feet to the floor again. And if you have a pillow or a block, slide it out. And then you bring the soles of your feet together here. So your legs come into a diamond shape. You're welcome to close your eyes just for a moment. Let the hips release, let the spine release. Take a breath in. And exhale. All right, our last pose before we take a short rest. Take your arms overhead and bring the knees up into your chest. Now, you're going to start by taking the knees off to one side. And if you can, keep your arms on the floor overhead. You might even want to bend the elbows a little more like a goalpost situation. That helps you to open the shoulders. Extend through the side of your hip. And your head turns in the opposite direction of your knees. This posture is good for keeping the spine strong and supple, keeping the hips and the low back open and strong, and also for digestion. Just anytime you twist the stomach a little bit, it's good for the digestive process. Take the other side, twisting the body. And your head turns in the opposite direction. Stay here and breathe. And then to come into Shavasana, you can take your legs back to center. And you can have your assistant again take the pillow underneath your knees. Now, if you don't have a pillow, you really don't need one. For classical Shavasana, you don't use a pillow. But particularly if you have a bad low back, if your low back hurts when you lie on the floor, this should take some of the discomfort out of it. Now, Marcy's going to lay here and take Shavasana, which is the corpse pose. So you're really just lying as still as a corpse, not even any special breathing. Close your eyes. You can let the video run. We'll be quiet for a few minutes, and then we'll let you know when to get up and finish the practice. Staying where you are, just become aware of your body on the floor. Keep your eyes closed. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the nose. And do that again. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. Wiggle your toes. And then very slowly roll yourself onto your right side, coming into fetal position just for a moment. And then push yourself up to a seated position. If you like sitting on the pillow, you can do that again, or sitting on the floor is fine. And we'll finish the way that we started. Legs are crossed in some way. Extend your spine. Close the eyes. And just take one more full breath in. Exhale. Scan your body, notice any shifts in the body. And we'll finish with one Om. Inhale. Hands to prayer. And to each other we say Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.